Guys, welcome back to the Omaha Outlook. My name is Luke Meyer. I'm here with Duncan Helms.
Hello.
And, oh, screen got dark. Hold up.
Yeah, it got a little darker on
Lighting's
me.
really, yeah, the lighting's all messed up there. Anyways, um, so welcome back to the Omaha Outlook. We got past our preseason top 25. We have all of our, I guess, just our team previews, just quick little high points on that. If you guys are interested in any of the teams in the preseason top 25, just kind of seeing what some strengths and weaknesses, some players to watch for, anything like that, feel free to check that on out. This particular episode will be the first that we've had where we have kind of like a weekend recap. We'll just kind of hit a lot of high notes, some storylines that we thought were interesting, some games we thought were interesting, players that we thought played well and such. So, like again, this is just kind of more of a high level overview, just stuff that caught our eye and such. And
Yep.
so, yeah,
I think this
pretty
it, for
crazy opening weekend for college baseball to say the
yeah,
least.
a ton of big upsets. I've got four big upsets, and then two ranked teams that did not have good weekends. And then obviously a couple unranked teams that did have very good weekends. Just to start off in the top 25, this is we're basing this off D1 baseball top 25. We don't care about anyone else's. I'm sure the Baseball Writers Association of America has a plenty good top 25. We're just sticking to one. We've been doing D1 baseball. We're going to stick with D1 baseball. The top 10, nothing changes. Texas A&M, Virginia, LSU, Tennessee, Arkansas, UNC, Oregon State, Georgia, Florida State, Florida stays the same. Then we have our first major change, or first change at all. Oregon, NC State, Wake Forest, Clemson, and Vanderbilt all move up a spot, so 11 through 15.
I'm happy about
Tex,
one of those teams moving up.
hmm?
I know you're not terribly happy about one of those teams moving up.
Hey, I'm happy for every team when they win, except Ole Miss. But then we have Texas moving up from 19 to 16. Duke fell all the way from 11 to 17. They had a pretty bad weekend. Then Oklahoma State also falls to 19. Mississippi State and Dallas Baptist stay at 18 and 20. UCSB, TCU, Nebraska, and Troy all move up a spot, so 21 through 24. Arizona, bad weekend, falls all the way out of the top 25. I'm probably going to talk about them in a minute. I think we both have a little bit to say about them.
Yeah, I think we both have a touch on them.
Yeah, and then one of my teams that I'm going to talk about when I talk about teams that had the best weekend, Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Bearcats. This is their first time ever in the D1 Baseball Top 25. They had a great weekend. They actually played Duke, and that's a series I'm going to talk a little bit about in a minute. But yeah, that's our top 25. Do we want to get into some upsets real quick?
Yeah, for sure. And I think one thing is too is it's important to realize that we're going to be overreacting to 27 innings of baseball.
Yes.
For sure,
27 or 36 innings of baseball. Yes.
yeah, this is the end all be all. The rankings in here, the path to Omaha has concluded.
Yep.
So yeah, obviously, that being said, the season just started. There's plenty of time for these teams. If we say one team does not look good, opening weekend, of course, obviously some of these
Yeah.
teams will be
Anything can
rebounding and
happen.
such from there. Yeah, I mean your season is not over because your Saturday guy on week one didn't pitch well or anything like that. So,
Hmm.
well, that's pretty much all I wanted to say from there before we got too much flack from
Yeah.
either
Also,
of
I
us.
just wanted to put this out there. My dogs are going to be making a few cameos. Probably they're pacing around behind me. Normally I'd lock them out, but nobody else is home, and I feel bad locking them out. So they're going to be around. But
Duncan Coleman.
getting into some upsets, let's go ahead and start. I know you have a decent bit to say about that, so just going to rattle a couple off. UC Irvine beats Nebraska 10-5 on Friday. That is number 23 now. Nebraska 24 at the time. Obviously, Nebraska bounced back, had a good weekend, moved up in the rankings. That's a pretty big upset. UNC Wilmington beats number 8 UGA. I was watching the UGA Kennesaw State game a minute ago. As we're recording right now, a lot of teams are playing.
Oh, for sure. The reason why we had to delay our recording so long is because we were watching so many games. I
Yes,
actually still have the Mississippi State Southern Miss game pulled up here. I was
as do I.
watching the Florida State versus USF. we had
Yeah,
to delay it just because we were watching a ton of different games.
yeah.
And
UNC Kansas State is happening right now. That's a really good
oh
game.
yeah, here let me look up the score of that one.
Yeah, if you want to pull up UGA Kennesaw State too, that'd be nice. But yeah, UNC Wilmington beats UGA 6-2 on Sunday. I believe UGA won that series though, if I am not mistaken. Yeah, if I look over here, yeah, UGA went 3-1 on the weekend. Two wins over a team I can never remember how to pronounce, but I recognize the name, Quinnipiac. I'm gonna assume it's that. And then
Oh yeah, that's how I said over.
yeah,
Kennesaw
and
State
then
is still up versus Georgia right now.
ooh,
Obviously,
interesting.
bottom of the fourth.
Plenty of
Time to
time, but
continue overreacting.
yeah. But then they split with UNC Wilmington 7-3, and then lost 6-2. So you could say it's a fourth game. That's probably your midweek guy coming out. Not a massive, massive upset, but it's one of the only losses in the top 10, I believe, besides Michigan beating Virginia 5-4, holding that Virginia offense that we raved about for 30 minutes
Yeah,
to just 4 runs is incredibly impressive. I know
I'll be
you have a
talking
lot more
about
to say
that
about
one in
this.
Arizona
Yeah.
quite thoroughly here in a moment once we
Oh
get
yeah,
through this.
Arizona. I didn't list them on major upsets because their whole weekend was bad. They, in my opinion, had the worst weekend out of any team in the top 25, potentially any team in the nation that wasn't going in to get beat up on, getting paid to get beat up on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of the teams with the expectations for sure.
yeah,
That's not the way you want to start the season for sure at all.
not at all. Was that the Shriners tournament that they were in?
No, so
There
they
was another
I believe
one.
that was a separate tournament. Yeah.
Yeah, but just real quick, Arizona.
Or actually, wait. Let me
It might have been.
wait. I think you're right. I think it was. There was like 7 tournaments going on this
Yeah,
weekend.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think
It's tournament baseball.
it,
Um, Arizona previously ranked number 21,
yeah,
like I said, it was the
it
Shriners.
was the Shriners for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, they went 0-3 on the weekend. With a loss to Ole Miss 2-1, a loss to number 15 Clemson 16-5. I don't know if I mentioned Ole Miss beat Clemson 15-5. That was one of my other big upsets on Sunday. Ole Miss is a good team. Like it's not a massive, massive upset, but it's the score is incredible. But yeah, Arizona lost to Clemson 16-5, and then lost to Louisville 13-1. Louisville had one of the best weekends, in my opinion. They beat two top 25 teams. Obviously, they got smoked by Oklahoma State, but beating Texas and Arizona was big for Louisville. But I know you have a lot more to say about Arizona, so we can get into that.
All right. So kind of hitting back on Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I have a note here in my notes that says the games in Dallas just simply did not disappoint.
Yep.
There was just so many different, I guess, run rules or offensive opportunities for this team. It seemed like I was at the ballpark and they would show the out of town scoreboard, and it would
Mm-hmm.
literally be like, "Oh wow, this team run ruled this one. Yesterday they run ruled the other one." It was just an insane offensive explosion. And
Mm-hmm.
out of all the teams that came out of there, Arizona seemed like the only one who just could not get their offense going, kind of whatsoever. Um,
Yeah, 7 runs on the weekend is really tough. And I mean, the teams they played are good teams. Like
mm,
Ole Miss, I know I saw something that had them projected in the bottom quarter of the SEC. Um, Ole Miss is a good program, as much as I hate to admit it. They are a good program, and it's SEC baseball, so again, it can be really anyone's game. And to go out there and only put up 1 run in the game against them, and then get smoked by Clemson, and we'll get more into that game in a minute, and then the Louisville game. That's just tough, very
oh,
very
for
tough
sure,
outing.
for sure. So I think the first game I'll hit here is the Ole Miss game. That's the first game of the weekend, and it was kind of Hunter Elliott's like coming back game. So if you guys don't remember, Hunter Elliott was one of their key pitchers going into their championship series whenever they won the national championship back in 2022. Unfortunately, I think he missed a lot of time last year in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And so this was like his first game back in extended start. And I mean, he pitched as well as he really could have, honestly. He
Mm-hmm.
went about 5 innings. He let up 2 hits, 3 walks, no runs. I mean,
Yeah,
realistically, for a guy coming back from such an extended time off, I think that's as good as you're going to realistically get out of anybody.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, Ole Miss's pitching staff also only giving up one run. You have three guys coming and pitch. Absolute
Mhm.
lockdown. You get the save from Spencer at the end. He goes no hitter, but three walks. Three walks in an inning and a third is scary, but obviously he gets out of whatever jam he got himself into. And it's a disappointing game for Arizona's pitching staff because they did their job. You only give up two
Mhm.
runs against an SEC team. Obviously, you talk about one of the guys I talked about for Arizona at the start of the year was Mason White. He went out and homered and was the lone run.
Yeah.
You get, I mean, I'm sorry, 8 walks in a game and you only get one run. It was a solo shot. That's tough.
And that's what I have in my notes here too, is that Arizona, they only had about 5 hits on the game, and none of them came consecutively. They were not
Yeah.
able to get. It would literally they would get one guy on the hit, and then all of a sudden he would just get right out, and then all of a sudden the inning's over. And so they just could not string anything together. And by far on the schedule, this was definitely the most winnable game on the weekend. And so
Yeah, for sure.
uh, it's one of those things that you never want to go out of leaking or losing record for sure. Obviously, you want to win every single game, but coming out of weekend 1-2 versus 0-3,
For sure.
I mean, it would be a bigger boost. It's 0-3 just feels devastating on that end, and obviously it's just the first weekend,
Yeah.
but
And
you always want to start off well, especially versus going to be ranked competition when it comes to later on in the
yes.
season. You're looking at your resumes. You really want to have to perform quite well against your ranked.
Yeah, this is an opportunity for Arizona to really go out and prove themselves against good competition. And we're not done talking about them. We have a little more to say about the games, but
Mhm.
this was just tough. This was just a very tough weekend for them, and like we said, a very winnable game against Ole Miss. I mean, I think they're probably favored against Ole Miss and Louisville. I don't think they were favored against Clemson, but you
Mhm.
go out there, you face some other top 25 competition. You want to make it a game at the very least. And speaking of making it a game, Clemson, um, it was just an absolute nightmare start for Arizona starter Owen Kromkowski. 2 outs, 8 hits, 7 runs. That's just bad. That's just the worst start almost you can think of.
Yeah, it truthfully is a nightmare start. I don't know how else to say it from there because
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's a game ERA of 94.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
so
about as bad as it can get. But then you look at Arizona's pitching staff up until the ninth inning, and they only gave up one run from the last out of the first to the last out of the eighth. One run, only 5 hits, struck a ton of guys out. I think that's 10 strikeouts from the relievers. No
mm,
walks. It's absolutely what you want out of your pen after that kind of start. You want them to come out and just give you a chance, and they absolutely did. Eventually, when Ethan Darden got out of the game, Drew Titsworth came on for Clemson. 2 innings, gave up a run, but then Chance Fitzgerald comes on in the seventh and gives up 4 runs, doesn't get an out, only 4 batters faced. The, Arizona's in this game. Their pitching staff did their job. The offense came out, battled back after the starter left, played well to give them a chance, and then in the ninth inning, it all falls apart for Arizona's pitching staff.
for
And
sure.
this is something we've talked about. I know I've specifically mentioned it that when you get into the bullpen, especially in college, there's just every guy that comes out. There's just a chance that that guy's not going to have a good day. And unfortunately for Arizona, Jack Berg and Matthew Martinez had really bad days. Berg comes on, 5 batters faced, only 1 hit, 5 earned runs. He must have hit people. Like,
Yeah, he
yeah,
had two
he hit
walks and two
two
hit by pitches from there.
and
So I think
a hit and a hit. It's just that's just terrible. Didn't record an out, and then Matthew Martinez faced 7 batters, got 3 outs, but also gave up 3 runs. I mean, it, besides the ninth inning, Arizona gave up 1 run. But besides the ninth and first innings, they gave up 1 run. In the ninth
yeah,
and first innings combined, they gave up 15.
for sure. And that's the thing too is that entering that ninth inning, it was 8-5. I mean, Clemson,
Yeah.
obviously that's not a great spot to be in, but that's still a winnable ball game. One swing of the bat,
Oh
and
yeah.
if you got two guys on, I mean, that's a tie ball game. And then, I mean, just to let up 8 runs in the top of the ninth, I mean, that's as
Yeah.
soul crushing as it gets. And that's what we're saying is that it's like Arizona just lost in such devastating ways because they lost such a close game versus Ole Miss, and then they were in this game. They rallied back. They had the momentum in their favor, and they finally got to answer back. And then all of a sudden, it just
Yeah.
fizzled out, and just Clemson just went into bullpen practice. I mean, they just started hitting off the
They
tee pretty much.
yeah. Like they were just hitting out of the cage, it looked like. And I mean, I'm gonna give a shout out real quick to Clemson's Reed Garris. 2 perfect innings, 3 strikeouts, no hits, no runs, no walks, no hit by pitching, no nothing. Absolutely sat him down. Only 23 pitches. That's exactly what you need out of the pen. And then Joe Allen comes on for the bottom of the ninth, walks a man, strikes out a man, no hits, no runs. Yeah, Clemson's bullpen after the seventh inning, well, after the start of the seventh inning, once they got that first out and Reed Garris came on, it was over. They didn't allow anything. And looking at Clemson's lineup, there's guys here that had incredible games that we mentioned, not to toot our own horn, or I guess my horn, because I talked about Clemson. But,
Yeah,
Dominic Listy, 3 for 5, 4 RBIs. Cam Canarella, 4 for 6, 1 RBI, had a strikeout, but 4 hits on the day. I think I talked a little bit about Jacob Jarrell, 2 for 4, 2 RBIs, a walk. And then you look over at Arizona's lineup, and another guy I talked about, Brendan Summerhill, 2 for 4 with 4 RBIs, and they had 1 RBI the rest of the
from
game.
a solo shot home, or no, Brendan Summerhill got that from there.
Yeah, it was
The only other guys he really
Mathis Morant.
The only other guy on here that really had a
He
ton of hits
pinch
all
hit,
for this Arizona squad is Easton Brayfo. I
yeah,
mean,
three
he's the only one.
hits,
He had 3 hits.
but no runs
He
batted
went
in.
down and got one. Huh?
No runs. He did score twice, but
Yeah, he scored twice. I think he had 2 doubles on the game. But I mean, outside of those two guys, it was just the offense just wasn't there, and just
yeah,
I don't know. It really is a it was just a painful game for the Arizona faithful.
yeah. It's looking at this from Clemson's perspective, because I'm certain we're going to be talking about Clemson a lot more this season. They went out and had, besides actually Ole Miss, like I mentioned earlier, Clemson had a solid weekend. This is exactly what you want to see. If you're Clemson's coach, you want to go out there and just see your guys battle for 9 innings. And after that
Hmm.
first inning, it almost seems like they took their foot off the gas a little bit. Weren't really able to string anything together. And then you say, hey, it's the ninth inning. It's time to put this game completely out of reach. And they did. Your stars showed up, Canarella specifically. Like, how many guys? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys had multi-hit games. I think there was only 2 guys in the starting lineup that didn't have a hit. Tough day for Luke Gaffney. He struck out 4 times in 6 at bats. And even Andrew Crefo did not have a hit, but did have an RBI because he got hit by a pitch and drove a run in. I believe that's what happened at least. But
Yeah.
it's exactly what you want to see if you're Clemson. Go out, destroy the starter, have a tough outing against the Pen, get to somebody, get after them, put it away.
Yeah, probably either that or he just maybe got a sac fly on in one of the two.
Oh, true. It might have just been a sac fly.
Yeah.
That's probably more what
Um.
happened.
Yeah.
I saw
But
the
who
hit by
knows? I mean,
pitches.
8 runs. Shoot, he probably could have got hit and
Yeah, I
fucked
mean,
somebody in.
I
So
think it
it's
was,
very
yeah,
the fact
Jack
that that
Bird
was
had
a
2.
likely possibility is kind of insane.
Yeah.
Um,
And then moving on to Arizona's last game, I think, unless you have more to say about the Clemson game.
no, I actually the thing I have to say about Louisville, the note that I have here, the top one I have is death by 1,000 paper cuts. And
Yeah,
so what I mean by that is Louisville had 17 hits on the game. Would you like to guess how many of those were singles?
14.
16.
Oh,
So yeah, it's a heartbreaker for sure. I mean, it's one of those things that it's not like Louisville just went out there and just slug, mash, mash, mash. They just went out there and they just singled. If you look at the box score here, it's a similar tale
Yeah,
to Clemson.
two
Is
bad run,
that
two bad innings.
two bad innings once again? Arizona got up. They got a run in the bottom of the first.
Oh,
No runs were scored to the top of the fifth, and 8 runs come across. And then in the eighth inning, 5 runs come across.
yeah,
Literally Arizona just comes in and they'll pitch lights out for 3 innings and then give up almost double digit runs. Like I
yeah.
mean, it really is insane. But if you look, the only thing that wasn't single, uh, Louisville had a triple in the fifth inning. So I
That
don't know.
probably drove in a
It's just
few.
one
I
of
mean,
those things.
yeah. Also, I will say, as much as I was tooting my own horn with the Clemson players earlier, Michael Hilker had some incredible stats for Arizona. He's JUCO transfer, struck out a ton of guys. He got absolutely shelled. Well, shelled is the wrong word. It was all singles. I mean, I think he gave up the triple, but two outs comes in the, like he comes in the fifth. You expect him. Okay, we're gonna get a little bit of length out of this guy, former starter. You know, Clemson's starter is pitching a great game, and then 7 hits, 8 runs, 1 walk. I think every player that got on base against him scored. Yeah, 7 hits, 8 walk or 1 walk, 1 strikeout, 1 wild pitch. It's That's just really tough. And then you look at it and you go, oh well. I think, yeah, Eric Orloff came in, didn't get an out, 2 walks, 1 hit by pitch. Tony Pluta got the last out of that fifth inning, and then Julian Togini comes on, pitches well.
And yes, it's funny because he's literally just like the other pitcher that you talked about for Arizona. Come out, pitch 2 great innings, three
Yeah,
strikeouts, no hits, no walk. It's like
1 hit, no walks, no runs. Like,
yeah, I just
yeah, that's just tough. And then you give up 5 runs, and it's just, and then your offense can't put anything together, so you get run ruled in 8 innings. And Louisville is a good team. It's another ACC team. We expect the ACC to be really good this year. It's a team you gotta beat if you're Arizona. Or at least put up a better game than this. 1 run on 1 hit, and guess what it was? Same thing as against Ole Miss. It was a Mason White solo shot. This is like Mason White and Brendan Summerhill are their arguably two best players, and they showed up just in separate games.
mm-hmm.
Mason White didn't really have anything against Clemson, and then the other 2 games he had 2 homers. And then Brendan Summerhill has a good game against Clemson, doesn't have anything against Louisville. It just seems like they just haven't put it together yet, really.
And one thing too, I'll say this for Arizona, their starter looked good.
Oh yeah,
We got Bailey, or is it Smith Bailey?
Smith Bailey. That was confusing me
Smith
too.
Bailey. Yeah, okay. I had to make sure.
For whatever reason, for those of you who can't see it, Louisville's stuff is first name, last name. Arizona's is last name, comma, first name. So you kind of gotta like invert your brain. But yeah, Smith Bailey.
Yeah, but he had 4 shutout innings, 5 strikeouts,
Yeah.
3 hits, no walks. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a solid outing. I mean, the only issue with that one is the fact he just didn't go for 5. But
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? I mean, there's not really anything more he could have done. Out of all the batters he faced, he mowed him down. He didn't let any runs up across the board. He didn't let Arizona get out of this game. This was Arizona's, like I said, last chance to allow this weekend with a win, and then immediately just right afterwards, chilled.
I'm not gonna get after the coach about the bullpen move to Hilker, because this is a guy who, from what I read, had a good fall, demolished JUCO ball. That you have to see this guy sometime this weekend. He hasn't pitched yet. You want him to come in and like, hey, let's see what this guy's got. It's a close game. He should be a good bullpen arm, and he just has a terrible game. And maybe you pull him sooner. That's the only thing I could think. But I don't know if he got the 2 outs and then all of this came with 2 outs, or what happened.
It's hard. I don't know. The main thing is, it's just that point is that once you got your guy on the mound, you got to let the other guys warm up, because otherwise you're gonna be right back in the same spot.
Because you don't expect to have to. This is a guy you'd expect to get at least 2-3 innings probably. Mm-hmm. Like maybe hand the ball to your closer if he has a really good outing, but it's very tough, especially if he goes out and gets 2 outs and then gives up everything after that. If that's I don't know if that's what happened, but if that is what happened, it makes perfect sense why he had to run for so long. It was pretty much just like, hey, you just got to get one more, and he just couldn't do it. And then of course the guy they put in also couldn't do it. It took
Sure.
another pitcher. It's
Um,
very tough.
yeah. So obviously Arizona ended up falling out of the top 25,
Yeah.
and this is a team that kind of is. I don't know if identity crisis is the right word, but they're in some sort of crisis as far as just this weekend. Like we said, it's one weekend. Let's not
Yeah.
overreact or anything like that. After I just said crisis,
Yeah, I was about to say.
yeah, that was not the right word there.
No, it's
They have some sort of issue here, just
yeah,
because I think that one, the offense needs to get going. Obviously, that's a given and such. And two, it seems like a lot of different bullpen decisions. So they need to figure out who's the right guy in which spot for the bullpen.
hmm
Um, I think because you got very talented guys who came in, they did their jobs. It's just some guys they couldn't get it in there and get it done. And I think even the coach, I think I was reading a few fan pages, they seem to share that same opinion, is that they got guys, they just need to figure out when and where they fit into this pitching
yeah,
rotation. So I don't know. Obviously, there's plenty of baseball left to play, but not how you want to start for Arizona.
yeah. And I will say, we're gonna try to use whatever we have at our disposal. So with these weekend recaps, teams play Monday, teams play Tuesday. Arizona already played today, and they actually won 10-0 against New Mexico State, or not New Mexico State, New Mexico, the Lobos.
Mm-hmm.
Brennan Summerhill, one hit, 1 for 3, 2 RBIs and a walk. Mason White went 3 for 4. Garen Caulfield, another guy I talked about, 2 for 4 with 4 ribbies. It looks like the offense put it together this time. Went out there, had a good game, and the pitching obviously shut out Keenan Ilarton. I'm assuming that's his name. 3 innings, 3 hits, 3 strikeouts, no walks, no runs. Carson Johnson managed to pick up the win. 1 inning, 1 hit, no walks, no runs, 1 strikeout. Garrett Hicks comes in, pitches 2 perfect innings. Raul, forgive me. Garizar? I have no clue. Raul, also a perfect inning. This is what they wanted to happen this past weekend. And to immediately come back on Tuesday and shut out a team, put up a good amount of runs, and it wasn't like they were scoring just in 1 inning. They were scoring the entire game.
That's good.
Like they once they got out of the 3rd inning, it was 3 runs, 3 runs, 2 runs, 2 runs, game over.
Mm-hmm.
Like they actually walked it off in a run rule, but this is exactly the kind of game Arizona needed. Who do they play next? They've got a series against UCSD this weekend. It'll be interesting to see how that works out. It's a team they should go out and beat. Yeah, it is absolutely something we need to keep an eye on, just because of how this last weekend went. And this game today, that was a big step in the right direction for them. We'll just see how they do moving forward against better competition.
Sounds good. What part do you want to move on to next here? I got a little bit about Virginia, not too terribly much about Virginia since we just yapped about Arizona for a little while. But
yeah, I'm going to mention one other team that didn't have a great weekend. Not as much in detail, but Oklahoma State went 1-2 on the weekend. Obviously they fell from 17th to 19th. They, excuse me, goodness. Lost to Clemson 6-5 in a close game. They beat Louisville 12-3, and then they got smoked by Texas 14-8, which I think was a part of the reason Texas moved up and kind of took their spot. Texas had a solid weekend, but Oklahoma State just kind of disappointing at the Shriners this past weekend. And then Louisville, we've mentioned them. They went 2-1. They beat Texas and Arizona, 2 ranked teams. Obviously, they got smoked by Oklahoma State, but they had a good weekend. And then Cincinnati, I'm going to mention them a little bit here, just because they went 2-1 on the weekend against number 11 Duke, and were the reason Duke fell to 17. And they're now up there. I mean, every game was, the 2 wins were convincing wins, and then the loss was 1 run. I mean, Friday you go out, win 8. I believe it was Friday. It was 8-3. Lost 5-6. and then beat them 19-5. That is convincing from Cincinnati. That's not, oh, we're playing these games, super super close, getting, maybe a lucky break here and there. No, 19-5 is demolition of a
Mm-hmm.
very close to top 10 team that I was decently high on. It's
I
very
remember
impressive from Cincy.
you chatted about
I
Duke for quite a while.
I
Yeah.
did. I liked Duke. I liked Andrew Healy. If you give me 2 seconds, I can actually probably pull up how Healy did this past weekend. Um, that's not it. Sorry, one moment. It might have, if it was the game they won, I'm gonna crack up. Nope. Oh no, I know what that means. Unless he didn't pitch. So the games were 8-3 on Friday, 6-5 in favor of Duke on Saturday, and then 19-5 on Sunday. Um, Healy actually did not pitch. It looks like, but
And that's what I noticed. A lot of guys this weekend, a lot of guys who were aces or rotation or anything like that, the guys you may see or mainstays, a lot of them just didn't pitch this weekend.
yeah,
So, you know,
but yeah.
it's one of those things.
Cincy in that 19-5 win scored in every inning but the first.
Mm,
It was not a 7 inning game either. It was 9. That was just,
really?
yeah. That was a tough one. It wasn't also they had them run ruled by 7, but I guess that run rule was not in effect. So yeah, since he went out, had a great weekend, first time ever in top 25 D1 baseball. That's big steps forward for them. Now, if you want to, we can move on to Virginia. I know you have some stuff on them.
Yeah, I'll just touch a little bit on Virginia here. So, Virginia went down to Puerto Rico when they played in a little tournament down there. And unfortunately, they had a little bit of a disappointing weekend from there. Obviously, it's not a full disappointment. They walked away with 2 wins. Their only loss coming against Michigan, where they lost 5-4 in extra innings.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Michigan walked them off. So obviously, that's never how you want to end it. But for a UVA team that we sat here for quite a while
Yep.
and said how potent their offense was, the offense really had some struggles. It was a little bit shocking for me because I actually sat down and I watched. This is one of the games. Obviously, we can't watch every baseball game for
Mm-hmm.
college. I mean, we don't. There's not enough time out there, um, despite us being professional podcasters. Um, so obviously, we had to go out there. We had to. I watched as much as I could. I watched a lot of the Villanova game versus them, and it just seemed like they couldn't get any type of offensive rhythm going, anything like that. And it was kind of like that for the whole weekend, except for the last game. So we'll
Mm-hmm.
start off with the Michigan one. So Michigan, obviously, like I said, Michigan wins 5-4. And if you look at really the offense for UVA, the bulk of this offense is coming from Eric Becker and Chris Arroyo. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at this stats here, so Eric Becker had 5 at bats. He had 3 hits, counted for 2 runs, two doubles and a single, and Arroyo had a homer and a single.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I mean, there wasn't really anybody else who put up anything extremely notable here.
Yeah, I
I,
mean,
it
we're
was, it
talking
was
about like Henry Godbout went 1 for 5 in that game. Henry
mhm.
Ford went 0 for 5. Didowick went 1 for 4. Like these are big bats that didn't show up in that game.
Yeah, these are big bats that I spent a lot of oxygen talking about, and they just
Yes.
made me look a little silly. That's okay. So, yeah, and of the total hits, the team had 9. Becker and Arroyo combined for 5 of them. So yeah,
It's
it's
just
going to
not
take
a
a good
recipe
bit
for
more to get there.
success.
And for sure, and one thing is this too is if you look over at Michigan, it's not like Michigan had some dynamite offensive game. They had 10 hits on the game for sure. So it's one of those things that they didn't have a dynamite game. They just had a little bit better of a game, plain and simple.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
they just came up in extras, and that's just the way that's just the way it went. But you
Yeah.
really, really hope for a team that has such high offensive expectations to do a lot better than this for sure.
Yeah.
I think one thing that you can take away here is that I mean, if you go down to the pitching looked good for Virginia. That was one of the things that they talked about going into this into the preseason. They said, "Hey, look, this is one of our deeper pitching staffs that we've seen." I mean, they had a solid pitching lineup. There's really only one reliever here, Joe Colucci, whatever.
Let me pull it back up. I could try to take a shot at it.
Yeah, Joe
I would say
Colucci. Also,
Colucci.
that's
Yeah,
Colucci.
yeah,
Um, yeah, he went one and two thirds innings, let up 2 runs, but outside of that, I mean, just solid work across the board.
yeah.
So
And I mean, if you
they,
look towards the rest of the weekend for Virginia, sorry to cut you off, but the
no,
pitching
no, by
was
all
a bright
means.
spot all weekend.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's exactly what I was about to get. I was literally about to say that
Mm-hmm.
because if you look over into this UVA Virginia game, they had it was an absolute pitcher's duel.
Yeah,
Going into the sixth inning, Virginia was pitching a no hitter.
sure.
It was yeah, and they were Bryson Moore.
Mm-hmm.
He had an impressive breaking ball. I talked about him a little bit in the preseason thing, just because his breaking ball impressed me so much. The way that he was getting guys to swing and miss with some sort of just breaking ball right on the outside of the plate, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was just swing and miss. I mean, it's not like these were strikeouts because he had 6 strikeouts on the game, so he almost had one an inning. But I mean, these were big swings and misses. I mean, he was making guys look silly out there. Obviously, Villanova isn't known for their extremely just high powered offense and such, but
Yeah,
I mean, there was a lot to like out of him from there.
yeah.
So
Looking at Arroyo as well, he's a two-way. He pitched.
yeah, no,
I
that
didn't know
he
that.
was a two-way. I think he transferred in from some sort of junior college, and he was a
I can
two-way
pull it
there.
up.
If
I'll
I'm
pull
not
it up.
mistaken. Yeah, because I believe they got 2 guys from the same junior college. I want to say, and so, anyways, with that being said, it was an absolute pitcher's duel. It was all the way into the seventh inning, and it was a 1-1 game. Villanova, all of a sudden, the ball pops up. It's an easy, just routine pop up in foul territory. Villanova's third baseman just loses it in the lights. All of a sudden, that allows Virginia to get 2 runs across the board. And I mean, plain and simple, that was just the end of the story from there, just because runs were such a hot commodity on this game.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much all it was. I mean, I'd love to say more, but it really just was just an outright pitcher's duel
Yeah,
through and
so he
through the
was
whole
from
time.
Wisconsin Rapids is where he transferred in from. It looks like he was at Charlotte. He was at Florida for 7 games. Oh, that's a summer league. It doesn't look like he played NCAA ball in 23 or 24. Oh, Baseball Reference does not have JUCO stuff. That's fun.
Yeah, I'm almost positive he transferred in from a
Yeah,
JUCO there.
I
So
believe you. The problem is Christian Arroyo is coming up, which is not
I
what I want
see.
to look at. But yeah,
So yeah, it really took that kind of an error on Villanova's part to get this Virginia offense to even come alive some little bit. But then they came alive, it got the win, so it got to keep its head high from there.
for sure. And the pitching continued to roll against Rice. 9 innings shutout, 3 hits. That's absolutely beautiful. Thomas Valencias, I think you mentioned him when we were talking. He came up, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what I was about to say. So Tomas Valencius, he
Tomas,
obviously
yes.
right versus Rice. So like with some level of that onto there. Obviously, not every game is I guess equal on from there.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he pitched to Jim. He
Yeah.
pitched. He went out there. He faced. I mean, obviously you can't control who's at the plate whenever you're a pitcher.
Yep.
So he went out there. He got outs. He did what he needed to do. He got it done, plain and simple. So I mean, you can't really be too mad at the guy from there. So that's
No, I
one thing.
mean, yeah. If you're a pitcher, same with a batter. If you're facing a pitcher that isn't necessarily a Cy Young winner in the future, you still got to go up and hit. And if you're a pitcher, you got to go out. Whatever the lineup is, go sit him down. That's what you got to do. Yeah, competition matters, of course, when we're talking about like how to project how actually good a team is, especially when, I mean, the title of our channel is Omaha Outlook. We care about the postseason, but for right now, all we have about this guy is this game, and he looked really good.
For sure. I mean, that's pretty much all I had for them. Like I said, I didn't want to hit on them too terribly much from there, but
But yeah, I mean, that's a good. It's a very good way for the pitching staff to bounce back and say, "Hey, I know we gave up 5 runs, 10 hits. That's more than we'd like to do on a daily basis." And Michigan might be a team we need to keep an eye on just in the future. Go out and get a good win like that in extras against a really good Virginia team. But the pitching staff came back and allowed 1 run in 18 innings. That's
Yeah,
Pretty
I
good.
mean,
That's pretty dang good. Even if the offense, which we expected the offense for Virginia to be the strong point,
for
and
sure.
it
And
wasn't.
that's the thing is that we really like. I was under the impression that the offense is going to find its footing and before the pitching was.
Mm-hmm.
Offense is going to go out there and score 7, 8 runs. The pitching may let up a little bit at the beginning portion of the season when they're still figuring things out, but it's the entire flip of the script.
Yeah,
So it was surprising, and they're definitely a team that we're going to have to keep an eye on just because they're too talented to keep down.
for
I
sure.
promise you, the Virginia team is going to be right where they want to be come the next 2, 3 weeks or something, just because there's too many quality guys on this team to stay down like this. So
Yeah,
I,
absolutely.
I'm not hitting the panic button by any means whatsoever if I'm a Virginia fan.
No, especially if the pitching is going to come out and produce like this, you have a little more wiggle room for how good your offense can be. Because if it's just your offense you're depending on, it might not really work out for you that well, especially come postseason. But if your pitching can also show up like this on a weekly basis, you're feeling pretty dang good.
True.
All right. Do you have any more series you want to talk about, or do we want to get into our players of the week?
I'll give a little game of the weekend before we get to players of the week.
Ooh, true.
Obviously,
Yes, I'll let
obviously,
you have that
obviously,
one.
obviously. We have. If you have one, by all means, share it. But
I don't
the one that I
actually.
got to go to, Rhode Island versus William and Mary.
That
Um,
is some hardo baseball.
that
Hold
was
up, let me pull
that
this
that
up.
is that's fantastic. Yeah, by all means, go ahead and pull that
William
up
and
real
Mary
quick.
baseball.
And
Um,
yeah, I'll let you
good
pull that one up.
lord.
Yeah, so William and Mary scored as many points as the Chiefs did in the Super Bowl and lost. Um,
Because the Rhode
this is a
Island
frame of
almost scored as many as the Eagles score.
yeah. This was almost a repeat of the Super Bowl. Just because.
Oh
So Rhode Island
my.
wins 36-22. And the crazy thing is, so if you look at this box score on this game, it's just silly. It's just silly.
Oh,
First inning, 3-4 in favor of William and Mary. Rhode Island comes back out in the top of the second. They score three. William and Mary puts up 10, right? So now it's 14-6. And you're sitting there saying, man, Rhode Island's down 8 runs. I mean, this inning would be good. Rhode Island scores multiple runs in every inning left in the game except for the sixth, putting up a 17-run top of the fifth. I
almost the
mean,
entire lineup scored twice in one inning.
it's
That is silly.
it's it's so insane. It's so insane. It's too much fun not to. I know this one went a little viral. I know it's kind of like the default vanilla pick, but there's a reason as to why. Just because
Yeah.
that is just such a not baseball stuff. I mean, it literally. I'm having to take 4 or 5 different scrolls just to get through the entire scoring box score.
Yeah,
I mean,
if we
it's
look over here at
it's
like
so
the
ridiculous.
batting highlights, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys had a double for Rhode Island. I mean, I think 6 guys had homers. Ton of
But
this is
if you
ridiculous.
look over at William Mary, only 2 guys had homers out there
That's
for
crazy.
William Mary. They
Only
put up
16 hits.
they put up
Rhode Island must have been
22.
walking people like crazy.
Yeah, no kid. So they had 12. That's so
Here we go.
insane.
Good
It's
lord.
so insane.
Composite stats. That's what I want.
12 walks from William and Mary and 17 from Rhode Island.
That is
Yeah, the
insane.
pitching was not down there. So
That
the
is not
game
a
was just too
UCSB
fun not
game
to.
right there.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not my sweet baby.
Dude, you know what the dream matchup for pitching just based on like how we talked about them in preseason.
You mean Tyler Brimner versus Jamie Arnold?
Well, yes, I was going for teams though. I was going for
Oh yeah, yeah,
Arkansas
yeah.
versus UCSB.
Yeah.
That'd be just a fun series. Ton of pitching. Thinking of Jamie Arnold, he actually had a pretty good game. I have it pulled up somewhere
Okay, he's
in my
calibrated.
mess of tabs. 6 innings, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, 8 strikeouts. Pretty good.
No biggie.
He
No
is
biggie.
not my pitcher of the week though. He's not even my honorable mention.
Really?
Yeah.
I
So
never thought I'd see that.
Jamie Arnold is a guy I'm gonna have to keep an eye on for sure.
For sure.
But yeah. You want to go ahead and get into our players of the week?
Yeah, and once again, for my hitter of the week, I went
Wait,
just
wait,
a
wait.
little vanilla here. Oh, go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay. So what I would like to do first is start with. You want to start with pitchers or hitters?
It don't matter to me.
Let's start with pitchers because they're higher in my notes.
Okay.
Do you have an honorable mention, or did you just pick your guy?
Yeah, so I kind of had a toss up from there.
Okay.
I guess I'll give my honorable mention now. It's going to be Bryson Moore for Virginia. Like I
Mm,
said,
yeah.
I was loving that curveball. That was he was eating them up. I mean,
Yeah.
5 and 2/3 innings, one hit, one earned run, two walks, 6 Ks, and he had a no going into the sixth, and he did all that on 62 pitches.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know what else you realistically could ever want from
That's
that.
pretty good.
So,
It's
so
pretty dang good.
it's pretty good. And I mostly just picked him just because, like I said, I was having a ton of fun watching him.
Yeah.
So
So my honorable mention. This is my hardo pick of the week. I we so right before this episode, we were doing like our final prep for about an hour. I swear, 15 minutes of that was me trying to find out how to pronounce this guy's name. There's not a video of them like, he played for Mount St. Mary's. His name, I'm going
okay.
to try to pronounce it. It's Serena Sare. Sorry.
Hmm.
He's a freshman from Mount St. Mary's. I have the box score pulled up. They were playing Norfolk State University. He went 7 innings, one hit, one walk, no runs, 13 strikeouts,
Cool.
gunning people down. This was the second game of a Friday doubleheader, so he would be their normal Saturday starter, I believe. But this guy absolutely mowed down Norfolk State. Norfolk State was also, by the way, held to one hit on the game. Shout out to Tommy Moore coming in and pitching a no through 2 innings to finish out the game. One walk, four strikeouts, no runs. But out of 22 batters faced, two got on base versus Sar. This guy mowing people down. Incredible.
That's crazy.
It's a very good start. He's my honorable mention simply because competition level, and there's a guy that had a pretty good game against a solid team that I wanted to talk about a little more.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I believe
Gotcha.
we
Well, I
did
guess.
talk about it. Do you want to go ahead and say your pitcher of the week?
Yeah. I'll go ahead and get on into it.
All right.
Connor Marshburn
Oh,
over
okay.
over at
Where's
University
he?
of North Carolina, Wilmington. This
Mm,
was he was the pitcher who blanked Georgia.
nice.
So just to give you a little bit of these stats here. I mean, he had just as good a weekend as you could really get. So 6 innings pitched, two walks, seven strikeouts, zero hit. He no-noed him like for 6 innings.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean
That's incredible
that
against a very good
is
team.
yeah, for sure. And I'm trying to think, and it was like last year. I think he had a ERA of almost 6.
Jeez.
Yeah, so obviously just one inning came out there, but or just one game of work.
Hmm.
But I mean, he threw out some 95 mile an hour fastball, 94 mile an hour fastball. I mean, he
Yeah.
was throwing stuff out there. I mean, he went out there versus a very talented Georgia team
Yes.
that has some serious postseason expectations, and he said, "It don't matter to me. I'm going to go out here. I'm going to just
Mow him down.
mow them down." There's just
Very
no other word
impressive.
for it besides absolutely mowing them down. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's very impressive. My pitcher of the week didn't have quite as crazy of a game, but I would expect this guy. This is a guy that I believe we mentioned, and I was not expecting the most out of him, but he looks really good. He was almost overshadowed by his teammate, but Pierce Coppola from Florida, 5 innings.
yeah,
Yeah,
almost
he was
picked him.
good.
I almost picked him as my pitcher of the week.
Yep,
He had a
mowing him
game.
down
I was
against Air
happy. We chit
Force.
chatted about him for a little bit.
Yeah, he was the second game of a Saturday doubleheader, but they didn't play Friday due to weather. So he's again
Mm.
their Saturday starter. Liam Peterson, sophomore at Florida, 6 innings, one hit, or no, sorry, two hits, no runs allowed. He was very good in that first game, and then Pierce Coppola comes out, 5 innings, one hit, one walk, one hit by pitch, 12 strikeouts, does not give up a
Oh,
run. Yeah, absolutely incredible outing for him. Like, we're talking, he got 3 outs that weren't strikeouts in 5 innings, just mowing people down. And Air Force, obviously, they're not one of the best teams in the nation or anything, but they're not a slouch. He went out there and just dealt. and I do want to give the homer shout out to our boy Pico Khan. I was very tempted. He had a very good game. 5 innings, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, no hit by pitch, 11 Ks. Pico was mowing people down. It was very very fun to watch. I was getting very hype at work watching that game. But yeah, my pitcher of the week is Pierce Coppola. Coppola. He had a wonderful game against Air Force.
And
Very
I think that's
excited to
one of
watch
the
that
things
Florida
too.
rotation the rest of the year. Liam Peterson and him. Shoo,
That's
it's gonna
what
be very nice.
the Florida faithful, they were telling me whenever I was doing the preseason
Mm-hmm.
interview, they were like, Liam Peterson is very, very good. He's very talented.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing with Coppola. So that's what
Yeah.
they said, that they were very, obviously for a team that last year was last in the SEC in ERA,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, right?
I
Yeah, they were
think
last in
so.
the SEC in
I
ERA
think
because they
so.
had about 6 point, like,
Y-
08 ERA,
Yeah,
give or
because
take.
Jack had like a 4.5 and he was like well below their average.
Yeah, he was well below their average. So exactly. So for a team to really come out and just, seem some flashes on the mound, that's a big, big, big get, you know.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Let's go ahead and get into our hitters of the week. Start with the honorable mentions. Do you have one?
I actually do not have an honorable mention for the hitters of the week, just
Okay.
because this guy that I'm going to talk about here,
Yeah, I think
just
we have the same guy
there's
for our
there's
hitter of the
just
week.
no way if you
Yeah,
looked at the hitting stats this weekend,
yeah.
Bryce Callaway at UNO. I mean
Oh, really? I
that.
actually didn't have him.
Oh, really?
So
I
here,
would
let
love
me
to
let me
see
talk
where
about
you
my
put him.
honorable mention real quick before we get
By
into
all
our actual
means, by
guys.
all means. Yeah.
Shane Lewis was my honorable mention. It's a little bit of a homer pick. I talked about Troy. They were the first team I talked about. Shane Lewis slash 571, 769, 2,769 in 3 games that Troy absolutely demolished Bellarmine by a combined score of 37-12 over the weekend.
I actually tuned into a little bit of that game because I remember you said they had an interesting stadium. Dude, they got a monster. They have an absolute monster, and that's why.
Oh,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think it's over in left field. And I remember you talked about they have a bunch of lefty batters in their lineup to
So they have the
for that.
monster in left, and then they got a 30-foot wall in right. So it's like
Oh
it's a
yeah.
fun field. But yeah, they on
Hmm.
Friday they went out and beat Bellarmine 23-6. So and Shane Lewis was just beating up on him over the weekend. If we look over here, 2 seconds. Oh my goodness, I've lost Shane. No, where is he? There he is. Um, he had only 4 hits, 7 at bats. One of the reasons I wanted to mention him, 6 walks.
Really?
Like
Oh man. Okay.
6 walks and 3 homers, and he only struck out 1 time. I mean, this guy had an incredible weekend at the plate. I mean, 571 average is insane. If you look at the guys around him on the OPS leaderboard, all of them are like 700 or above, 600 and above. Bryce Callaway, like you said, 67. This dude just went out and said, I'm going to get on base, and then when you give me a pitch to hit, I'm going to murder it. And
Hmm.
he did. But yeah, tell me about Bryce Callaway.
Bryce Callaway, UNO, versus he played West Georgia. Um,
Oh, my former
yeah,
school.
your former school.
Yeah,
Duncan hit her the transfer portal, and he
I
came to
did.
Michigan
I
State.
did.
So, um, yeah. Also, by the way, might I add, fantastic uniforms for this weekend at UNO.
I got to pull him up. I don't know about him.
Yeah, by all means, go ahead and pull those up. They have some outstanding uniforms, at least from the little clip that I saw. UNO baseball
Oh,
uniforms.
not Nebraska.
Yeah, yeah.
University of New Orleans.
University of New Orleans. And let's see if I can get the Mardi Gras. Maybe it's Mardi Gras.
Oh, it might be the Mardi Gras ones. I do like the like dark blue and white pinstripe. That's nice. But I'm
Yeah.
assuming
Okay.
that's not
Okay.
what
So
you're
they
talking about.
got. I think this is actually a picture of Bryce Callaway I'm looking at right here.
Nice.
I can drop it into chat if you'd like.
Yes, please.
Um, big ups on that uniform. Big
Oh,
fan.
yeah, that's actually sick.
Yeah, great Mardi Gras
Yeah,
uniform.
that's good stuff. That's
So,
good stuff.
anyways, all that aside, Bryce Callaway, 8 plate appearances all weekend,
Mm.
7 hits, 1 double, 4 homers.
Jeez.
I mean, yeah, no, this guy is just destroying that ball. He was tearing the cover off of it, and I don't know. I saw, but between the uniform matchup, him playing West Georgia, and then him putting up just
That's absolutely
ridiculous
fair.
numbers.
That is
Um,
absolutely fair.
I think actually, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, that might have just been over. So I'm looking at his total stats for the season right here. It
It was
looks like
over
it's
three
12 plate.
games.
Huh?
3 games. If that's what you're looking for, but I don't know what you're looking for.
Yeah,
So
so that's what it looks like. 3 games. So he had 12 plate appearances from
he did
here.
not
I'm trying to
walk,
see.
but he did strike out once.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at. I think I think if I'm not before I say this and put this out into the ether,
Hmm.
let me make sure because
All
I
right.
think that might have come
Do you know if they were
in
playing in
one.
New Orleans? It came in what? What?
Well, that's what I'm asking. That's what the way that I read this made this sound like it came in one game, but that just does not seem
Oh,
right. But
yeah, yeah. Unless he just didn't play much in the other 2 games, that would be very surprising. That's a big dude, by the way.
yeah, but no joke.
That's a big boy. Those uniforms are pretty sweet. But I wonder if I guess they were playing in New Orleans. If they were playing in West
Yeah,
Georgia, I
and
should have gone.
yeah, I think no, they were playing at Georgia over that way.
Really?
So, but
Okay, they
yeah,
were playing
all
30 minutes from me. Oh my goodness, I should have gone.
yeah. So anyways, he had a great weekend from there. Just overall in the weekend, he had 12 plate appearances, bat 667, slugged 1750.
Hmm.
Um, obviously put up a ludicrous number of home runs with 4. I mean,
Yeah.
he had a game. For a second, when I initially had read it, I thought that came over the course of like one game, maybe it was like a doubleheader or
Hmm.
something like that. But anyways,
Yeah. All right. Do you want to take a stab at who my actual hitter of the week is?
um, Slate Alford our good friend.
No, actually, did he even have a good weekend? I have no idea.
I don't believe so.
I don't. They
Um,
got blanked. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
doubt
think
anything.
I think they ended up winning the rest of the series or whatever. But I
Nah.
think first that one game that
But
did
yeah,
quite well.
my hitter of the week is junior out of Wake Forest, Merrick Houston. Um,
Oh, I talked about him.
yeah,
Yes,
you did, and I was
I
I
talked
was
quite a bit about him.
scrolling through the stats leaderboard. I was like, oh my goodness. In 4 games, so the slugging is down just a little. Like slugging and OPS are down just a little compared to Shane Lewis. He played an extra game. Had a good few more plate. Had like 6 more plate appearances. Yeah, slashed 714, 789, 1429, and 2218 over 4 games. 2 against Marist, and 2 against Long Island. Yeah, it is monster numbers. I mean, 4 games, 19 plate appearances, 10 hits, 11 runs scored, 13 RBIs, three
My
homers, 5 walks, just 1 strikeout, and 2 stolen bases. I mean, this dude had a weekend of absolute dreams. He was playing the
Mhm.
show on rookie. Like, this is just ludicrous numbers against any competition. I mean, like we've said,
Yeah.
teams like Wake Forest should go out there and beat teams like Marist and Long Island. I think I have the scores here. They played a doubleheader on Friday against Long Island in the first game, 14-2 in just 7 innings. Marist in the second game of that doubleheader, 11-4. Long Island in the 7 innings on Saturday, 14-0. Marist on Sunday in 7 innings, 24-6. And Merrick Houston was a very big part of that. Yeah, that it's just absolutely ludicrous numbers. Yeah, a couple other guys I just wanted to shout out because they had crazy stats. Sam Tackett from Virginia Tech, in only 9 plate appearances, put up a 2667 OPS. Quite fun. If we look over here at the homer leaderboard, obviously Bryce Callaway, like you said, and then Ryan Scott from Incarnate Word, 4 homers, 15 RBIs in
Gosh.
14 ABs. So he was absolutely mashing. He also had a triple. Did anyone have more than one triple on the weekend? Yes. JT Taylor from North Carolina A&T, 3 triples. And West
Oh, three
Georgia,
triples.
yeah, West Georgia, Cooper Prince, 2 triples. What in the world? But who's our stolen base leader? Robbie Burnett from Georgia was 7.
Mm.
Interesting stuff. Walks leader.
Okay, so it looks like
Hunter
the
Covington.
second half of the battery for UNC Wilmington did not show up.
No, not
Yeah,
quite.
that's a
UNC Wilmington, a guy had 8 walks, but only a 526 on base. Only
really,
because he
yeah.
had a batting average of 200. Oh, Slate. Hold up, Slate Alford. Guess his slash line. Don't look. Guess his slash.
Okay, I looked a little bit earlier. I know he
Mm-hmm.
batted 125. Yeah.
Yes.
I did not see the rest of it.
Okay. What do you
I'm
think?
just gonna.
Just take a stab. You're good at this, apparently, on this
No, I'm
podcast.
not. No, see, now I'm on the spot. See, now we have a
Yeah,
reputation to
yeah,
be
yeah.
guessing stuff.
You have
I
expectations
should have
now.
guessed. Um, gosh, I'm sweating. I'm sweating profusely. Yeah, I'm just gonna go for something like silly numbers. Just 611 on base percentage.
There's no way you didn't look.
Okay, so I looked at the batting average and I saw like 4 or 5 numbers
Okay,
across
yeah,
from it.
okay,
So
yeah,
it was
that's
kind
fair.
of something
That's
like
fair.
that.
Yeah, 611 on base, 125 slug. He walked 8 times, and I believe 1 hit. So he certainly had an interesting weekend. Dude, 2 high points. I love scrolling through stats. This is fun to me, but
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, those are our hitters of the week, pitchers of the week, series of the week that happened. Obviously, there's some good midweeks happening right now. State is not looking great, but
Yeah, we were pitiful right now.
yeah, no runs through 6 innings. 2 on, 2 out for Southern Miss right now. They're up 3-0.
Yeah, I saw one where we made a routine. It was a ground out, and he missed
Yeah,
Hunter Hines by approximately
that
2
that
yards.
was genuinely one of the worst throws I've ever seen. It's
Yeah,
quite bad. But yeah, I believe Thursday is the plan to record our preview for the weekend and do a very, very quick recap of some midweeks. Um, that being said, the recap of midweeks is just going to be the teams we're talking about for the weekend. We're going to talk about how they did in the midweeks, and that's about it. And I
yeah.
believe that's all we got this time. Yeah. Unless
For
you
sure.
have something else to say.
No, I think we'll probably just pick what, maybe 2 or 3 series and
Yeah, I would think
something like
three
that.
series. I would foresee us if really quickly, like post credit scene, we want to talk about State real quick. For those of our friends who are watching care about State, we could do that real quick.
Sure.
But yeah, State went out and demolished Manhattan over the weekend.
Mhm.
Like I said, Pico had a wonderful start. I need to pull up some stats because this was a very off the dome thing.
Yeah, this was not
This was
appropriately
not
planned.
planned, but I figure we can do a quick 10 about State. We're just at an hour 15 now, so this is our post
Oh, okay,
credit
yeah.
scene.
It's
Yeah,
not too shabby, not too shabby.
not at all. This is by far the shortest episode we've ever done. But yeah, State.
I figured there's obviously not a lot to talk about for a lot of the recap stuff, especially for
No, yeah,
format. So, you know,
yeah. It does not want to let me pull up the schedule from Mississippi State baseball. Hello.
I'll get into a little bit from there. Obviously, the
Yeah,
state's
please do.
bats they came alive for the doubleheader on Friday. The bats came alive for it and such. The pitching obviously looked very good. I think all except for Jacob Pruitt. Jacob Pruitt did not have a great game. I'm looking at his stats right now. He had a
Mm-hmm.
27 ERA. He just got out there and I don't know, he just couldn't put it together. Just he allowed
Mm-hmm.
2 hits and 2 walks over the course of 1 inning.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't look great, which is obviously a little concerning, just given the fact that he was one of our big transfers coming on in. But
Yeah.
180 good baseball.
Yeah.
Um,
It's just to kind of
so
wait and see.
yeah, of course. We pitched. I was shocked we pitched a lot of freshmen this weekend.
We
A
did.
lot of guys, a lot of freshmen
And we
came in.
threw out another freshman just now in this midweek. He didn't have. I will say, for as much as like, oh, he didn't have a great game, he didn't let up much. The offense is just getting shut down right now by that team down in
Yeah,
Hattiesburg.
I think Southern Miss used one of like their best guys out of the bullpen
Oh,
for this game.
really?
I think they were I think they're throwing the kitchen sink right now.
Ah,
Um,
figures.
so
But yeah,
obviously more Southern Miss content, you know.
yeah, more
It's their
Southern
set.
Miss content. Luke Blackburn
Yeah.
specifically requested it. But yeah, obviously we beat the crap out of Manhattan in that first game, 17-3, 15 hits. The bats looked great. Pico looked great. I'm so happy Pico looked that good. He was locating the fastball. The off speed was everything you could dream it would be. It's I don't want to say he's Clayton Kershaw, but
Took it immediately. Immediately.
immediately going way too far in on one game against the Manhattan Jaspers from Pico Con.
Oh, well, fun fact for those of you guys who weren't listening, that was the second time Friday was the second time they played outdoors in 2025, the year of our Lord.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I forgot about that.
yeah,
Yeah,
they had not played
interesting.
outside at all, and apparently that was a more of a. I think was it you that was telling me that was more of a common thing like up north where they just
Yeah,
don't get out a
it's
lot.
more of a thing. Just because think about it, you don't get to like this year they haven't played outside. Fall ball is just winter, like snow, so that it's
Yeah,
really hard to play baseball in the snow. I don't know if you know, but that the team furthest north has a dome. Yeah, and somehow Tampa also has a dome. Well, like, yeah, not anymore. But yeah, rip to one of
to
the
St. Petersburg,
yeah
Tropicana Field.
yeah. Either way, I'm sorry, that completely
Don't
threw
get
me off.
blanked. This is so
I did
embarrassing.
blank, but yeah, Bryce Chance obviously had a good second game, 3 for 4. I love me some Bryce Chance. Now that he's playing center field as well. It's just like that's Bryce Chance land. I love it. Um, Aaron Downs 2 for 3.
Aaron Downs had himself a freaking weekend,
Yeah,
man. That
four
guy, he had
RBIs in the
himself a
second game
weekend.
too. Yeah, Joe Powell played. That's what I've got to say about that. Um,
Yeah,
as
I
as a
think he
Ross
came in
Highfield
after.
believer,
See, because Ross actually started over in
Rossi
right
started
field.
in right,
He
which
started right field for one of the games. So that's one of the things that honestly it was probably just a thing to get some more reps, if I had to guess.
yeah, absolutely. If I can get to the pitching stats, what? Gosh, damn it, this is annoying. The state website's making me mad right now. But
Oh, I just have it pulled up on D1 baseball here. I'll
oh,
drop the link
true.
to you.
Please, yes, thank you. But yeah, I mean, I was trying to look at how Carson Ligon did because I didn't really get to watch that game.
Yeah, Carson Ligon, he had a solid outing. He had a 2.25 ERA across 4 innings. He just let up
Okay.
one run, eight
Yeah.
strikeouts.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, that's a pretty solid. He was a Miami Friday guy, so
Yeah.
I'm hoping that he'll fit into this Saturday role quite well.
Yeah.
Stone Simmons,
Stone.
that was kind of the storyline. I almost feel a little bad for Aaron Downs. Stone kind of stole the weekend just because
Mm-hmm.
whenever he came out of the bullpen, the stadium got loud. Everyone in there was happy because for those of you who don't remember, he was
No, he
actually on our
started. He started
championship
Sunday.
team. Yeah, he was on our championship
Yeah.
team, and the game that landed Sims towards Tommy John versus Tulane, he was pitching a perfect game, struck 12 or 13 batters out, and then snapped his Tommy John. Well, Stone Simmons comes in. What does he do? He proceeds to snap his Tommy John,
Yeah.
and he's just been injury after injury after injury. So this is his first time
Yeah.
playing back since early 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
He's been on the
so
field as a first base coach.
yeah, he's been out there on the
We've
first base
seen
coach.
him,
So,
but we
um,
have not got to see a ton of him.
Yeah, so the place got loud. It was
Yeah.
great. It was great. Oh, it was fantastic just to see
Yeah.
that. He looked really shaky to start off,
Mm-hmm.
just because he's never really started before at the collegiate level. It's his first time back in 3 years. Everyone's really excited for him. Everyone's clapping.
Yeah.
Started off shaky, but he settled down from
Yep.
there. He was throwing heaters. When I tell
Yeah.
you, I mean, mid 90s, 94, 95, routine 93, making it look easy. Um,
He's a
he ended
big
up,
old
he allowed
boy.
yeah, yeah. He allowed one hit, two walks,
I think
and
those
five
walks came a lot
strikeouts.
earlier on too.
Yeah, it was that first inning that
Yeah.
had just a lot of that because what happened, if I'm not mistaken, it was one guy got on, they ended up stealing second, and then a hit came across, and then they runners on the corners, and he ended up sitting him down. But yeah, 5 strikeouts. I mean, it was just blistering heat from him on there.
Hmm.
I don't expect him to maintain that Sunday role. I think that Sunday role is really up for grabs for
Yeah.
just about anybody right now,
Yeah,
if I had to
we're probably
guess.
going to see the return of the famous TBD. Um,
TBD.
we're
No.
probably going to see a decent bit of him. Um, Chase Hungate, they might try to stretch. I could see that trying to happen just because he's a very talented player. Um,
Dude, you know another
yeah.
player who did impress me out of the bullpen?
Mhm.
Nate Williams. Nate
Yeah,
Williams.
you
Because
were talking about him before, and he actually had a really good outing. One
yeah, I
inning,
know
no
Nate
hits, no runs,
Williams.
one walk, 3 Ks. That's pretty
He
sweet.
came out there angry, dude. As a grown man, he came out there and he was just like, "I'm striking you out. You didn't know you knew about it." That's exactly what he did. 1 inning,
Yeah,
3 Ks, one
yeah.
walk. I mean, it just he went out there and he's a good guy to have in the back of the bullpen for sure. He's
Oh
another
yeah,
guy
for
that's been
sure.
injured for the past 2 years, and that
Hmm.
this is his first time seeing the field that's not a JUCO level.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
I'd be
Big
curious to know. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
no, no. By all means,
but
I was done.
okay. But I would be very curious to know what the story is with Nolan Stevens pitching. Um,
I am too. That's a big
because
one.
he was good as a freshman last year.
Oh yeah.
He was
I
a
think he was
good,
second team All American at that
yeah, he
position.
was a
No, he
very
was
good
quite good.
reliever. But then, I mean, in 3 games, 8 plate appearances, but 500, 625, 11, 67, 17, 92. He had the best slugging on the team. He hit a homer. He had 5 RBIs. He stole a base. Like that dude's just an absolute athlete.
I've heard
And
enough at Shohei.
yeah, but like that was a guy after how he pitched last year. I really expected to him to potentially take on a bigger role pitching, and because he didn't hit great last year, I was much more impressed by his pitching. Obviously, he's having a good start to the year batting, but him and Michael O'Brien are just two interesting guys. I think Spalletta's not a 2A, is he? It's O'Brien and Stevens, I believe, if I'm remembering
Sounds
right.
cool.
But
I don't want to. Don't quote me on that one. I know
yeah,
definitely, obviously, Nolan Stevens is, but
yeah. I know
Brian's kind of
O'Brien
escaped.
and Stevens are or were, at the very least. Oh goodness, my dogs. I guess this is good timing. They haven't barked until now. But
I didn't hear it, so
no, good. But obviously Pulliam and Spalletta were guys we saw a little bit of last year. Those guys, that group of sophomores. So Stevens, Cup, O'Brien, Pulliam, and Spalletta, and also Ace Reese. That's a ton
Ace
of
Reese,
young
yes,
talent. Reese,
yeah, for
I would have
sure.
thought he had a bit of a better weekend than he did. Obviously, he's still above 1,000 OPS, but batted 250. Ross Highfield didn't have a great weekend. Um, he was two
It's his
for.
also first game coming back from a fairly significant injury
That's
as
that's
well.
very
So
true. It's going to be interesting, I think, for him being, the junior catcher behind the plate. Going to have to kind of settle some of these freshman pitchers down that we see a lot of. They were talking about that right before the Southern Miss game started. I mean, it's nothing to, I think, worry about with him not having a great start. Sawyer Reeves also had a pretty bad start,
no,
but
he did not have a great
he
weekend,
also
and
just
he's not had a
absolutely,
great game versus Southern Miss.
yeah, he just yanked a thrower. It was genuinely one of the. I'm sure you could see it on the video because I just like happened to be looking over when that happened, and
I did the same. I did that.
yeah,
I hit one of those.
yeah, it,
Uh,
it, it was quite bad. Bryce Chance is up right now, 2 outs, 0-2, man on first, and he just swung and missed at a pitch in the other batter's box.
oh my gosh, Bryce Chance, he never strike out. Why of all places to strike out?
I know.
He
But,
literally never strikes out.
we have 3 errors this game.
Yeah, no, this
That
has been
pitch
a
was
this,
never a strike, Bryce. Oh my goodness. But yeah, it'll certainly be interesting. Like, I mean, this is something we said literally in the first episode within the first 15 minutes. Southern Miss is a good team. I was just looking at the RPI earlier. The conferences are, in terms of RPI, SEC, ACC, Big 12, Big 10, Sun Belt. So according to ESPN
where's the
RPI,
Pac-12 at?
You mean Oregon State? I mean, if you're doing it by average of team, it's Oregon State and Washington State. And Washington State had a pretty good weekend. So
Yeah, versus Arkansas, yeah, they had a
yeah,
respectable weekend.
but the Sun Belt is, according to ESPN at least, the fifth best conference in college baseball. So we'll see how that goes. And Southern Miss is 3-0, and they really want to win this game. This is a really big game for them. And I mean, obviously, we don't want to go out and lose it, but gotta see how she goes.
Yeah. So.
All right,
Yeah,
I believe that was our post-credit scene done. Quick little 10 minutes, 15 minutes on Mississippi State. I would like to just throw that in there because I like to talk about State, and I don't want to just talk about them too much.
That's like the team we actually sound like we're knowledgeable about.
A little bit more, yeah. I can rattle off a few names. Oh, Robert Fortenberry just came in the game.
That one is not a name I am familiar with.
I was about to say, I don't know that name either. Lefty out of Frisco, Texas. What?
Just made us look stupid.
I know. We were like, oh, we know this team a little more. Who is he?
Who?
Yeah, I believe we will stop yammering on. We should have said like and subscribe earlier. I'll just cut it in at random points.
Like, can make me a live reaction, please.
Dude, oh my god, that was an insane moment. But if you like hearing us yap on about baseball for, now just an hour and a half, an hour 15 of actual like content about the series that happened this weekend, and then about 15 minutes of us talking about our team. Just stay tuned. We're gonna have quite a bit of stuff coming up. Not recently, soon, and yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
All right.